Hello, Melina ma'am.
Hello.
Hello, Usha ma'am.
Hi,
Hi,
Nazir.
hello all.
Yeah, hi Reshma,
Hi,
Nisha.
ma'am. Good evening,
Hi,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go live.
Yes.
All the best, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are live, ma'am.
Okay.
Let's start now.
Yeah.
Start.
Warm greeting from the Indian Dietetic Association, Chennai chapter, Justice Bashir Ahmad Syed College, Chennai, Net Profan, Chennai chapter, supported by California Walnut Commission. Namaste, good evening, Vanakkam to each and every one of you present here for the World Heart Day celebration. We would like to start this celebration with a small prayer from the verses of the Holy Quran by Miss Fahima, student, JBAS College, Chennai. Fahima, can you start your prayer? Unmute yourself.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغلوب عليهم ولا الضالين Amen. Translation Surah Fatiha, the opening. I seek refuge in Allah from Shaitan, the rejected. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. All praises for Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the most gracious, the most merciful, the master of the day of judgment. You alone we worship and you alone we ask for help. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those upon whom you have bestowed favor, not of those who have incurred your anger, nor of
Thank you, Fahima. I would now like to request Dr. P. Mohammed Nisha, Assistant Professor, JBS College, Chennai, to give the welcome address.
Assalamu alaikum and a pleasant good evening to the distinguished panelists. Dr. Shanaz Ahmed, Principal, JBAS College for Women, Chennai. Dr. Salma Pervin, Associate Professor and Head of the Department of PG Studies and Research in Home Science, JBAS College for Women. Core Committee members of Indian Dietetic Association, Chennai Chapter, NetProfan, Chennai Chapter, Eat Right India, my dear colleagues, friends, students, and everyone joining us virtually. On behalf of the Department of PG Studies and Research in Home Science, JBAS College for Women, Chennai, and on behalf of my own self, I would like to extend my warmest welcome to you all for the World Heart Day webinar. A healthy heart is a key to healthy life. Today, 29 September, we are celebrating World Heart Day. This webinar has been organized by JBAS College for Women, Chennai, and co-hosted by Eat Right India, Indian Dietetic Association Chennai Chapter, NetProfan Chennai Chapter, and California Walnut Commission. JBAS College is delighted and honored to welcome the entire co-host for today's webinar. This webinar aims to create awareness on importance of heart health and also to reveal the benefits of including walnut in daily diet to support the heart, brain, and gut. First of all, I would like to welcome the moderator for our panel discussion, Dr. Nirmala Jesudasan, consultant dietitian. Ma'am, we are honored to have you with us here today. I'm glad to respectively and cordially welcome Dr. Priya Chokalingam, renowned preventive cardiologist, clinical director, Cardiac Wellness Institute, Chennai. You're most welcome, ma'am. I find it to be my pleasure to welcome Dr. Usha Antony, Dean, College of Fish Nutrition and Fish Technology, Tamil Nadu, Dr. J. Jayalalitha Fisheries University, Chennai. On behalf of JBAS College, let me please extend a welcome you, ma'am. The next panelist we have amongst us today is Dr. Vinitha Krishnan, Chief Clinical Nutritionist, SRM, Institute of Medical Sciences, Chennai. We are extremely privileged to welcome you, ma'am. I would like to take pride in welcoming Ms. Marina Alex, Assistant Manager Dietetics, Madras Medical Mission, Chennai. I would also utilize this platform to thank and welcome Ms. Nazneen Hussain, Founder, Director of Freedom Wellness Management as a panel member. I would like to mention a special word of thanks for extending your unconditional support for making this webinar a grand success. I once again welcome all our amazing panelists. We are looking forward for your enriching interaction on the importance of a healthy diet in reducing the risk of cardiovascular diseases. I'm sure that each one of us will benefit from this heart healthy discussion. I would like to say welcome for Ms. Hemastri Subramaniam, home cooking, for her recipe demonstration, and for Mrs. V. Bhavani, dietitian, ESIC Medical College and Hospital, KK Nagar, Chennai, for the discussion of nutritional benefits of the recipe. We are delighted to welcome the judges of the recipe contest, Innovations with California Walnuts. The huge task of picking up the winners of the recipe contest was done by Mr. P. Krishnamurthy, convener, IDA, Chennai chapter, and Dr. R.M. Shobana, assistant professor, JBAS College for Women, Chennai. We are indebted to mention your meticulous work undertaken for selecting the best recipes. A special welcome to Mr. P. Krishnamurthy, convener, IDA, Chennai chapter, and Ms. Shruti Gupta, India Communications Representative, California Walnut Commission, for the announcement of prize winners of the recipe contest. I would like to specially acknowledge and welcome California Walnut Commission. We are very fortunate to have your generous support for organizing the World Heart Day webinar. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Nisha ma'am, for welcoming all.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. I will now welcome Avanti ma'am, Dr. Avanti Prabhakar, Assistant Professor, JBAS College for Women, Chennai, will speak on the relevance of World Heart Day.
Thank you, Reshma, and thank you all of you. And thanks today for all of you being here, and great support which was done at back end. Not to, I should not forget to mention their support also. So thank you, Shruti. Thank you, Steffi. So I would like to begin my talk about relevance of World Heart Day today, and a very good evening and a hearty welcome actually to all of you who have assembled here with us for celebrating the World Heart Day. I shoulder the responsibility in this virtual platform to talk about the relevance of World Heart Day, which is primarily meant for you all, dear students. And September is supposed to be a heart health awareness month. And every year, September 29th is observed as World Heart Day. This is an initiative which was started by World Heart Federation to create awareness on cardiovascular diseases, which is known as CVD, among people. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, every year close to 18 million people die of CVDs worldwide. It also accounts for around 31% of global deaths and is the world's biggest killer disease. In India, as per a study which was published in Lancet, results in it shows that 2016 year witnessed the CVD contribution to 28.1% of the total deaths. This makes the awareness about heart health as a serious concern for all of us. World Health Day aims at educating people about CVD across the globe and highlights the steps which individuals can adapt primarily to prevent and control CVDs. It further intends to drive an action to educate people by controlling modifiable risk factors such as high blood pressure, uncontrolled diabetes, obesity, tobacco, unhealthy diets, and sedentary lifestyle. World Health Day is a united global campaign for individuals, for families, for communities, and also for the governments of the world to participate in activities and to take charge of their own heart health. Through this campaign, the World Heart Federation aims to unite people from all countries and backgrounds in the fight against the CVD burden and inspires and drives international action to encourage heart-healthy living across the world. In the year 2020, the Federation salutes the heart heroes of healthcare system like Dr. Priya during the unprecedented times of COVID-19 pandemic, because in this time of COVID-19, CVD patients are at a great risk of developing severe complications due to the virus and also are afraid to seek health care for their own heart. So we are not sure when this course of pandemic will take, what will happen in future about this pandemic, but taking care of hearts, taking care of our own hearts is right now is most important than ever. And we can all invest in our heart health by taking a few simple steps, like changing our behavior for a better quality of life, helping the community to make positive lifestyle changes targeting the heart health, and finally taking the responsibility as a responsible individual to set an example for our children. By and large, I wish to say World Heart Day is commemorated to promote different preventive steps and changes in lifestyle to avoid cardiovascular events. A healthy heart is goal and people must take sincere measures to keep it healthy. Therefore, World Heart Day is a perfect platform to unite in the fight against CVD and reduce the global disease burden. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Avanti ma'am, for the relevance of the World Heart Day. I would now like to welcome Nazneen ma'am, founder and director, Freedom Wellness Management, will speak on walnuts, an excellent source of plant-based omega-3 ALA.
Good evening, everyone. It gives me extreme pride to talk today. A big thank you to IDA Chennai chapter, to the NetProfan, to the JBS college for collaborating with us. And also a big thank you to my very, very dear friend, Miss Meenakshi Bajaj, who has helped us put this entire event, without whose help today's event would not be possible. So thank you, Meenakshi. We are really missing you. And I will go on to my formal presentation. So like we all know that walnuts are the king of nuts. And very often when one talks about nuts, we know that the good value of nuts is extremely high. So today we are here to discuss the walnut nutrition. Okay. So interestingly, this is something which most people ask me, how many nuts can we consume? So approximately a lot of research-based studies show that around 28 grams or 12 to 14 halves of a walnut, or किसी को simple चीज में समझाना है, 1 fistful of walnuts is what is a daily recommendation. Roughly how many calories would it give? It would give around 190 calories. 18 grams of total fats, of which the PUFA variety is around 13 grams. Okay. We also have ALA, which is 2.5 grams. The total carbohydrate of walnuts is 4 grams. The glycemic index is around 15. It has around, this one serve size gives you around 2 grams of dietary fiber and around 4 grams of protein. So like you see over here that walnuts is the only nut which is significantly very high in omega, plant-based omega-3, especially the ALAs as compared to all the other nuts. And we know that ALAs are inversely proportionate to the mortality levels, and they are as effective, especially in vegetarian diets like the marine omega-3s. Sorry. Okay. So along with the ALA, walnuts also are an extremely good source of magnesium. And that is why, especially because we have a lot of students attending here, a lot of people consume walnuts pre-exercise for their magnesium content, so that it helps in reducing the cramping. It also is a good source of vitamin B6, extremely good for a glowing skin and good hair. We have copper, magnesium, manganese, which are again very good. Walnuts also offer a variety of antioxidants, which include the polyphenols and the gamma tocopherols, and it is an excellent source of melatonin. And a lot of diabetics and people who find it difficult going to sleep consume a bowl of walnuts in the night along with a protein source, and it can be a good sleep inducer as well. So why walnut research? Across the world, a lot of health claims have been done, especially on the dietary recommendations of walnuts. And here we see that if you can see on the chart, different bodies have actually, given their health claims. The FDA has said that the walnuts can be used for coronary heart disease. American Heart Association has given it a tick mark, saying that it is a heart-friendly food. We use this My Government, the plate method, wherein walnuts definitely is a part of it. The European Commission again, which is a very big body or regulatory body, has made a claim that walnuts help in improvement of the elasticity of the blood vessels, and also has alpha-linoleic acid, which contributes to the maintenance of normal blood cholesterol levels. And also the UK Heart Association has approved it. So over the years, a lot of research programs have been done in all these areas for walnuts, be it walnuts and heart health, which is our main topic today, walnuts and cognitive health, walnuts and cancer. So almost all these NCDs, a lot of work has been done, research work has been done on walnuts, also on reproductive health. So when we look at walnuts and heart health, since 1993, a lot of researchers have been investigating how eating walnuts can positively affect various heart biomarkers and risk markers, which we all know are LDL and HDL, apolipoprotein B and non-HDL levels, blood pressure, inflammatory markers, endothelial functions, and plaque formation. So in the next few slides, we'll see how each of them benefit. So when we look at walnuts and heart health, increasing total consumption of nuts, especially individual types of nuts, example walnuts and other tree nuts, can be associated with a lower risk of CVD. Okay. A lot of meta-analysis and systematic review studies over 25 years also show that walnuts are definitely associated with significant decrease in total LDL, cholesterol, triglycerides, and apolipoprotein B. All these are very important markers, like we know. Also, simple things like just replacing the saturated fat, which we know is a difficult to changing it to including nuts like walnut, may reduce the risk of heart disease. Okay, eating whole nuts as a part of the diet, especially as a snack or just eating it plain, can also help in reducing the central blood pressure. And a diet high in PUFA may also help to protect against adverse effects of consuming high meals in saturated fatty acids by improving the fat metabolism and lowering the triglyceride and the cholesterol levels. So overall, it not only negates the SFA effect, but it also improves in fat metabolism and lowering the triglycerides and cholesterol. Now, when we look at walnuts and heart health, again, here, it may also help to reduce LDL cholesterol. And just by reducing LDL cholesterol, what we are ineffectively saying is that it enhances its ability to inhibit the production of pro-inflammatory responses that would include the TNF alpha, IL-6 and IL-8. Today, we know a lot of diseases are only inflammation. And so with LDL comes lower of all these pro-inflammatory markers also. So it can be extremely beneficial. Besides heart health, it can be also used in other inflammatory conditions like diabetes and heart disease. So walnuts derived fatty acids can favorably also affect the plasma epoxide production, resulting in improved microvascular functions. This is one of the most beautiful studies. It's called the PeriMed trial. Okay, this was done as a traditional component of the Mediterranean diet. It's an amazing study wherein it showed that consumption of tree nuts, primarily walnuts, was associated with a 30% lower risk of cardiovascular events and 46% lower risk of stroke. Okay, so what was the composition of the PeriMed trial? They had 30 grams of nut, of which half of them were walnuts, and then remaining was almonds and hazelnuts. And what they saw in this entire study was that overall consuming this kind of a diet, a Mediterranean diet, may reduce the risk of all-cause mortality. So they saw benefits in drop in heart disease, diabetes, cancer. So overall, it reduced a lot of risk. Okay, we know that today nobody talks of heart health alone. Today we talk of a bigger problem, that is the cardiodiabesity. And walnuts and diabetes and metabolic syndrome all go hand in hand. So a lot of studies have also shown that regular consumption of walnuts, and if you mark my words, I would say regular, okay, regular, daily, on a sustainable basis, may help manage complications associated with diabetes and metabolic syndrome. Okay, so especially for diabetes, epidemiological research studies show that those individuals who consume walnuts may have a lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. So this is more from a preventive angle. Okay, then walnut consumption may also improve the endothelial function, which is a powerful predictor of CVD health. And including walnuts in the diet may overall improve the diet quality. Okay, like we saw earlier also, eating walnuts on a regular basis would increase HDL, increase apolipoprotein, decrease fasting glucose levels, and increase circulating adiponectin levels. A lot of times, patients often ask that, ma'am, this is a fatty product. Like we saw on the slide too, almost one fistful of walnuts would give you around 18 grams. Then would that not gain weight, or would that not hinder weight loss goals? No, because when one consumes walnuts on a regular basis, it is associated with almost a 15% lesser risk of developing obesity. And walnut is a fatty product, so but the good fat, of course, and it makes you feel satiated and full. Also, as compared to a low-fat, reduced calorie diet. And a lot of studies have also actually shown that, many a times when people are trying to lose weight, they get this constant craving to eat more food. But when they're consuming walnuts, they feel pretty full, and the cravings also drop. And also there is almost a 11% lower risk of developing diabetes, and weight regain chances are also very less. Okay, so here this is exactly what I was saying, that a daily half serving of walnut consumption is associated with a 15% lower risk. Also appetite control. So when and these are some of the problems which we see day to day in patients, especially with weight management, that they have a challenge with satiety. They never feel satiated. So consumption of walnuts will improve satiety levels and favorably change the appetite hormones. That is, they'll decrease the fasting ghrelin, which makes them feel hungry, and increase the YY peptide, which kind of creates the feeling of satiety and fullness. Thus, it creates like an active area of the brain, which kind of reduces the feeling of hunger and cravings. Okay. A lot of work also has been done on the caloric content, and more and more research shows that whilst one serving is 180 calories, but actually on final consumption, it may be 39% lesser. Okay, so 39 calories lesser. So overall, what you would get from one serving of walnuts is only 146 calories. Okay, walnuts and gut health. So again, because of its fiber content, the walnuts do have a prebiotic effect, which may promote the growth of good bacteria. Also, we know that regular consumption of walnuts is positively associated with the human gut microbiome, and it helps in increasing the gut bacteria, which is thought to be beneficial, such as a good probiotic like the butyric acid producing bacteria. We know that butyric acid is thought to be useful by maintaining the health of the colon. Also, it helps in decreasing the bile acids that may play a role in colon cancer, reduced inflammation, and gastrointestinal disease. So a lot of animal studies which have been done on walnuts and gut health, some of the results are they increase the amount of probiotic bacteria type, which would include the Lactobacillus, Rosebura, and the Ruminococci. They may also modify the gut bacteria in a way that may protect against colon cancer. Today, with a whole lot of people, especially young girls with PCOS and a lot of stress with young men, infertility affects men and women both. And a lot of food-linked behavior is also related to the whole reproductive success. And there is a lot of encouraging research around walnuts and the reproductive health. So especially for PCOS girls, for diabetics, for people with heart ailments, reproductive health is important, and consumption of walnuts may prove to be beneficial. Okay, especially a lot of studies have been done around male fertility, and we see some positive shifts in the sperm quality factors associated with fertility, also sperm vitality, motility, and the morphology. The ALA that has been correlated with less frequent sperm aneuploidy is associated with genetic abnormalities such as Down syndrome. Walnuts again is extremely beneficial in cognitive health, especially because of its polyphenol content, for its tocopherol content, and the polyunsaturated fatty acid, which may contribute towards protecting against the detrimental effects of aging, including physical and cognitive behavior. And walnuts in the diet may improve cardiovascular risk factors for neurodegenerative disease and age-related cognitive decline. But the idea here is that one needs to start early and eat on a sustainable basis. So once a person is already having Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, and then you start, effect may be little. But if you start young, then over the years, the impact may be much better. Okay. Yeah, this we already spoke. And also walnuts and physical activity. So epidemiological studies show that eating foods like walnuts may be associated with reduced likelihood of developing physical impairments in the older adults, and also because it's an energy dense form of food. Even for the older adults, if you grind the powder of the walnuts and mix it to their porridge, etc., it can be a sustainable food which can help the elderly as well. A lot of research again has been done on cancer for breast, prostate, and colorectal cancer, and all of them have shown good results. Especially for breast cancer, short-term clinical trials show that it may help in suppressing the growth and the survival of breast cancers in humans. Also, a lot of animal studies have found that including walnuts may be associated with decreased risk of breast cancer, including a significant reduction in the tumor incidence, number and size of maternal offsprings of the mice. Colorectal cancer, again, animal studies in the early days, but may inhibit colorectal cancer by suppressing the angiogenesis as well as modifying gut bacteria in a way that may be associated with colon tumor suppression. In animal studies, they also found that walnut consumption may protect the colon from inflammation caused by the digestive disorders like ulcerative colitis. So, for a lot of young students who are here, how can we use walnuts? You can use it pre-exercise, like I said earlier. High magnesium content reduces the cramping. Also, you can use it because most people before exercise don't want to eat a big meal. So just eating nuts may help, or the walnuts can help with a few dry fruits like prunes or black raisins or dates. For breakfast, you can add it to the breakfast cereal, or you can add it to the traditional poha, upma, dalia, your idlis, okay? Or alternatively, one can make walnut butter at home and apply it on the toast. At mid-morning, probably just eat some plain nuts with a fruit or with flax seeds and pumpkins. You can also make a soup, which could be a vegetable-based soup, to which you can add walnuts, and it can be a delightful treat. Walnuts can also be added to the salad. So you either add it to your vegetable raita or you add it to the plain salad, and that can be very, very nice. In fact, because we eat salad which is high, which would be tomatoes or things, carrots, which are high in vitamin A, and you have it with a fat-rich source like walnut, it helps in better vitamin A absorption as well. You can add it to the curd rice, or you can add it to the chicken or your paneer, whichever you're having. And of course, a lot of students have done some interesting stuff on making desserts like mithai, kheer, halwa, or a muffin. So these are various ways you can actually use walnuts in your daily diet. So thank you so much, and for a patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Nazneen ma'am, for that elaborate presentation. Now we would all move on to the panel discussion. Just a few minutes, I can share my screen.
Avanti, you want to take home? Yeah.
Ma'am, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. I would like to invite Dr. Nirmala Jesudasan ma'am. She is a registered dietitian with the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. She's worked as a clinical dietitian at Singapore General Hospital as well as Madras Medical Mission and Mehta Hospital also. She's a recipient of the American Overseas Dietetic Association Service Award for the year 2013 and Service Quality Award in 1997 from Singapore General Hospital. Ma'am, I welcome you to introduce all the panelists.
Thank you. Thank you, Reshma. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
I'm happy to introduce Dr. Priya Chokkalinga. Dr. Priya is the founder and clinical director of Cardiac Wellness Institute in Chennai. And her interest is in prevention and reversal of heart disease through lifestyle modification. And she feels that each one of us can prevent and control the heart disease-related diseases such as stroke and diabetes, hypertension, obesity, if given the right information and guidance at the right time. And she's been spreading awareness about the heart healthy lifestyle through television, print media, health camps, office programs, and for corporate companies, educational institutions, and so on. So she has written some books, 3 books, and also she has research and publications. And without much ado, I'd invite Dr. Priya to make a presentation.
Hello. So, thank you for that kind introduction. Thank you so much.
Nirmala ma'am, you can introduce all the panelists and then we can.
All?
Yes.
All at one go?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I thought we were going one by one as usual. All right. You want me to go with the others? All right. Then I would like to, does Reshma want to show the slides for others? Yes. Okay. Dr. Usha Antony, as it was already said, is the Dean of the College of Fish Nutrition and Food Technology. But she has had a most illustrious career. I don't want to go through her resume of 20 pages. I would just say that she has worked in a lot in food technology and Center for Biotechnology, and she has been professor and professor emeritus, and presently she's the dean. And she has done teaching and evaluation, UG and PG courses for over 3 decades. And she's also done research and consultancy projects, both in India and abroad, and with collaboration. And she has published many papers, and she has guided many PhD students and MSc students and worked on many projects. And her special interest is in millet fermentation, bacteriocins, prebiotics, probiotics, polyphenols, all kinds of biochemical stuff from the food, sensory studies on stevia, and even a vaccine. And she's part of many boards of studies, and she has won many prestigious Indian and foreign awards. And going on to Dr. Vinita Krishnan. Bring on Dr. Vinita Krishnan, please. Yeah, Dr. Vinita Krishnan is the chief clinical dietitian at SRM Institutes now. And she used to be the chief dietitian at Apollo Hospitals, Chennai, and also in Fortis Malar. And she has spent 6 years of experience, and she has authored books on nutrition planning for practicing dietitians and cancer diet therapy, because she worked a lot in the cancer hospital. and a Tamil book as well, and posters and research presentations. And she was awarded the best dietitian at Apollo Hospital. And she's also a qualified internal auditor for ISO, JCI, and NABH audits. So we wait to hear from you, Vinita, as well. And then Marina.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm happy to introduce Marina, well known to everybody. And she's the chief dietitian, but the actual designation is Assistant Manager Dietetics in Madras Medical Mission Hospital. And she's worked for 22 years. She's conducted international and national conferences. And she's a member of the Indian Dietetic Association, ISPEN, IAP, and she teaches at the College of Health Science, College of Nursing, Madras Medical Mission. And she's authored some nutrition textbooks. And she's a resource person for many national conferences and a board of studies of, she's a member of the board of studies in University of Madras, and she specializes in renal nutrition. Welcome, Marina. And Nazneen, we've already heard about, from Nazneen, but I would just like to mention that she's a most enterprising young woman, and she's the founder, director of Freedom Wellness Management. She's in the NEC of the National, the Indian Dietetic Association. She's a nutrition advisor for INS Hamla, which is the Indian Navy. She's in the Yoga Institution and the chief dietitian for nutritionist for Steadfast Football Academy and in schools in Mumbai. And she does corporate wellness programs for companies. And she's also a consultant for sports and Bollywood personalities. And she's always in the newspapers, TV shows, and radio interviews to get the nutrition message out. So it's very nice to know all that about you, Nazneen, and hope to hear from you again. So now, Dr. Priya, please.
Vanakkam. Good evening, everybody. I'm extremely glad to be on this, invited to be on this illustrious panel. And yes, today is the 29th of September, World Heart Day. I think all of us assembled here, including the youngsters, the students, there's one important message that the main logo of this World Heart Day is use heart to beat heart attack, or use your heart to beat heart diseases. That is the logo that, or the main motto of this particular World Heart Day this year. So we are in the midst of a very challenging pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. And I'm actually glad that we're all able to connect even in these very difficult times. Very thankful to the organizers for having invited me. It gives me great pleasure to be addressing my colleagues in the nutrition arena, the young students, all of you who are interested in increasing an awareness about cardiovascular health with the fundamental awareness about nutrition as well. So I believe, and I am a strong believer, that nutrition, a balanced, healthy nutrition, is the first and foremost thing that anybody would need to maintain and preserve their heart health. Having run Cardiac Wellness Institute for the past 6 years in Chennai, in India, actually, I started it after coming back from Netherlands. I did my PhD in cardiology from the Netherlands. And after about 12 years living abroad, I realized that India had actually grown in several ways in economic developments and infrastructure developments. Even medicine had advanced tremendously in the first 12 years of the early 2000s. But it was disappointing to see that preventable diseases, non-communicable diseases, or otherwise called lifestyle diseases, were very, very rampant, particularly heart disease. heart attack, that's, cardiovascular diseases empanels a spectrum of diseases of the heart and blood vessels. So that would be myocardial infarction, stroke, hypertension, peripheral arterial disease. So these are all the cardiovascular diseases which are the primary killers today. So across men and women of all ages above 20. So earlier on, we were taught that these are diseases of older people, in men predominantly. Women were protected because of their hormonal advantage, the estrogenic protection. Unfortunately, over the last few decades, we have completely lost that protection. So women, even very young women, starting from college-going women, and men and women are falling victim to heart attack and cardiovascular diseases. So I think the whole idea of this event is to make people aware that healthy, balanced nutrition is very important. தமிழ்ல நிறைய பேர் இந்த பழமொழியை கேட்டிருப்பீங்க, அளவுக்கு மிஞ்சினால் அமிர்தமும் நஞ்சாகும் அப்படின்னு. What it really means is we have to eat a balanced diet. If we think we can get away with eating a lot of something which is good, that again can be dangerous for our health. So for instance, we have a lot of fad diets which are popular these days. So I'm sure the nutritionists who are assembled here are better speakers about that. But from our experience at Cardiac Wellness Institute, we know that people who follow these keto diets, paleo diets, and a diet which focuses on one component of nutrition rather than on all the macro and micronutrients, they do end up with, at a young age, they end up with heart problems, renal problems, liver problems. So the message is very loud and clear. We need to focus on a healthy, balanced diet. I think the fundamental of a healthy, balanced diet is, as we look at the food pyramid, now the food pyramid is transforming rapidly. We know that the naturally available fruits, vegetables form the bottom of the food pyramid. So we encourage everybody to at least consume 5 portions of fruits and vegetables every day. That is not difficult, but if you are someone who's not used to eating that much of fruits and vegetables, you might need to start making those small changes. The second most important thing is to consume whole grains, because we, as a South Indian diet, we are used to consuming a lot of rice. Rice is not evil. People now have started looking at rice as evil. Rice and wheat are all good sources of starch and energy. However, if they are whole grains, they are so much more beneficial. So our whole wheat bread and chapatis, our red rice and brown rice, and our very own traditional millets. So all of these have to be included in our daily diet. And nuts, yes, we really recommend nuts for people to enjoy on a daily basis. Nuts in their natural form, a mixed variety of nuts, and definitely to prevent cardiovascular diseases, to prevent neurocognitive diseases. So nuts are a healthy addition to our everyday meal. So I think with this concept of a healthy diet, in fact, we recently did a research study across 550 students, women students going to college in Chennai. It was a survey-based study to look at what their cardiovascular health risk behaviors were like. And these were all young women between the ages of 18 to 24. It was quite disturbing to note that even at that young age, they were not leading the typical heart healthy lifestyle. They were falling short of their nutritional requirements. They were not exercising adequately. So when I say adequate exercise, the World Heart Health Organization recommends at least 30 minutes of brisk exercise on 5 days a week. So that's about 2.5 hours of brisk activity for all of us on a weekly basis. And added to that, we also need to include 2 days of strength training exercises. So I think that is again a good balanced fitness regime that was actually absent in most of the students who took part in the survey. And they were not sleeping enough. They were chronically stressed. Fortunately, the use of tobacco and alcohol was negligible. So, but we had this young student population who are, I'm sure, when we did a workshop for them, a day's workshop for them, and at the end of the workshop, it was very obvious that they had understood the importance of a balanced, a healthy lifestyle in terms of diet, exercise, stress management, good sleep. And when all of this is combined together with minimal use or absolutely avoiding tobacco and alcohol, it becomes so much of a heart healthy lifestyle. So I think prevention is key. We have to focus on primordial and primary prevention. We as a Cardiac Wellness Institute also do cardiac rehabilitation, that is for individuals who have already been diagnosed with heart problems, but that is already a bit too late. We can start early and start addressing the lifestyle risk factors in our young generation. We will definitely succeed in preventing heart diseases in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. As we say, it is no more a disease of the older people, it is a disease of the younger generation and of midlife. So let's all, take a team effort and have this war footing. Now it's the COVID-19 pandemic. We might, luckily, I'm sure we are coming to the end of the pandemic soon. But after this, we have a bigger epidemic which is facing the developing countries like India. And that's the cardiovascular disease issue, the challenge, the global burden. So let's all take this up upon us as on a war footing and help reduce the mortality and morbidity due to heart diseases. Thank you once again, and I'm glad to continue the discussion after the panelists share their ideas.
Thank you, Dr. Priya. As you said, the questions, I think any discussion will have to be at the end. Now I invite Dr. Usha Antony to give her presentation. Pleasure to see you, Dr. Usha, after a long time.
Thank you, Dr. Nirmala. Thank you very much for that kind introduction. And I'm happy to meet the panelists whom I have not met earlier. Thanks to the IDA of the Chennai chapter, and the JBAS college based in Chennai, as well as the California. So here my job is slightly different, although the focus and the the ultimate objective is the heart health, and we all know that cardiovascular diseases are the killer, as the previous speaker mentioned. And as dietitians and nutritionists or food technologists, we are working towards people adopting a healthy lifestyle, particularly with respect to food. Here, I'm going to look at the negative aspects which some of the foods may contribute, and the focus which I'll be taking now is on the trans fats. Fats form such an important part of our diet because they make everything so palatable and tasty, and many of us find it very difficult to resist foods. And just now we had also Nazni tell us about the significance of a high fat, or at least a fatty food, which is healthy. We know this, but there are lots of foods which contain the trans fats, and chemically or biochemically, we know that the trans fats are different from the other fats because of the way in which the CH-CH double bond is oriented with respect to the molecule. And when we look at the food sources, there are two main sources of trans fat. One is from the industrially produced trans fats, which are called the what we call the partially hydrogenated oils, from which is the major dietary source of trans fat in our diets. The other one is the ruminant fats, which comes from the cows and sheep, and therefore the meat as well as the dairy products which we may be consuming. But of all this, the guilty party is the trans fat, which is coming from the industrially produced trans fat, which comes from the partially hydrogenated oils, which of course had a history, and it was basically to enhance the texture, shelf life, etc., that these were introduced as a replacement for dairy fats. But starting as early as 1950, we have data, scientific data, to show that trans fats can be harmful for various reasons, and particularly detrimental to heart health, because ample number of studies are there which show that consumption of trans fats is associated with, human studies are there, epidemiological studies are there, which show that consumption of trans fat is associated with higher incidence of cardiovascular disease, particularly because it has a negative impact or adverse impact on cholesterol metabolism, particularly on LDL cholesterol. So this is well documented, and this is known to many people. But the food sources which we are consuming, which especially the youngsters are consuming just now, ma'am mentioned about the survey they had done on youngsters, and we know that a whole lot of foods, particularly the bakery fats, which is very popular. Over the last 10 years, we have seen a significant increase in the number of bakeries and fried food shops which sell chips and other things. So every street has almost 2 or 3 or more of those. And the incidence, I have found that youngsters, after their tuition, they're assembling at these joints and they're eating these foods. The jalebis, and then the chaat, so many things, the burgers and the pizzas, and any outing is always associated with such foods which are likely to have this trans fats. Now, trans fat data is available. Trans fat data for Indian foods are not so much available, but the average consumption is supposed to be about 0.2 to 6.5% of the total energy intake. And among the fat sources, we find once again the hydrogenated vegetable oils are pretty high, and they almost 60% of the fat, the trans fat, comes from such hydrogenated oils, and mostly it comes from the what we call the allylic acid, which is the 18:1 fat. Anyway, so that is that part of it tells us that these foods contain high levels of these components, and therefore there is a need to educate people and make them aware of the fact that such food consumption should be reduced. But much more than that, the government is taking action. Again, research data shows that countries which have managed to bring in the laws which regulate the consumption, production of these trans fat containing fats, which is the vegetable, partially hydrogenated vegetable oils, that is the target. And the Indian government, the policy makers of the FSSAI has been very good. And then, as you know, starting from 2010, first they brought it to 5%. From 5%, the target is in 2021, we will reach 3%. And then finally, we will, by 22, it will be only 2%. So what do we mean by this? What we mean is that ultimately we want to eliminate all the hydrogenated vegetable oils, partially hydrogenated vegetable oils, which includes our vanaspati and margarine and other such substitutes which are used in many foods, especially snack foods. A whole number of them are very popular with them. So the target for the government is there, but that's not enough. The WHO itself in its report says that it's important to make people aware, because a food choice is something which all of us would like to have. We need the liberty for that. Some countries have tried placing a tax fat, and among the states in India, as you know, Kerala introduced this tax in 2016, where they imposed a tax of 14.5% on pizzas, burgers, and other things. But experience from other countries like Netherlands and Denmark. Denmark was the first country in the world to insist on labeling for trans fats, and as early as 2006. Ours has come in much later now. To say some food is trans fat free and the restaurants are trans fat free, FSSAI has provided the guidelines, but it is not mandatory. It is voluntary for them to declare. And if a country can successfully eliminate the production of the industrial trans fat containing oils, then automatically all the vendors and restaurants and other places will not have this trans fat containing oils, because there's enough technology now available to produce or use oils which do not contain these trans fats. And particularly the WHO guideline, as well as guidelines everywhere when we're talking about the balanced diet, is to substitute the saturated fat with the MUFA or the PUFA. So it is possible to have such tailor-made fats using interestrification techniques and such techniques, so that we still do not lose the physicochemical properties, because a whole lot of spreads contain these trans fat containing oils. So the idea is to reduce. Traditionally, we all know that spreads or mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is the basic spread from which many other spreads have evolved. And that is made with olive oil. but now olive oil has been replaced with other oils, basically the hydrogenated vegetable oil, and this is the problem. So when we are looking at youngsters are crazy over such food. So it is important for the government to follow this policy and successfully lead us to a situation where such oils are not available in the market. And many the experience with other countries shows this is what is necessary. So the regulation part is there, but the awareness part has to be built, and that is where I think we all have a role. Now the relation to cardiovascular disease is well established, but there's more data now. Much more recently, there is data to show that many other things are also, many other systems are also affected, particularly fat deposition. Clearly, the consumption of trans fats leads to decrease lipogenesis in the adipose tissue, but increased deposition of fat in the liver. This is a problematic thing, which we know. Nutritionists know that, doctors know that, cardiologists know that. So there are studies. There are also studies to show that inflammation is enhanced, and the endoplasmic reticulum stress is enhanced. So many metabolic problems arise at the cellular level. So this data comes from both animal studies as well as the cell line studies, which show that the allylic acid is definitely harmful, because that's the major acid which is present in the oils, which are the hydrogenated oils which are being consumed. So the awareness is not there, particularly in the unorganized sector, and as well as the organized sector. Of course, the chefs and other people who are educated. Today. Chef Soundarajan is not there, but if you remember, he was one of those people who initiated the trans fat free, movement, or the necessity for restaurants and other such places, catering services, to be able to have foods and have adequate substitutes so that we do not use the trans fat containing foods. So at that level, people who are educated and have awareness of the scientific advancements do know about it. But there are the entire sector, which is the unorganized sector, and that is where most of the food is consumed, the street foods and other foods. It's very, very important and the small bakeries, for them to be educated, for them to be sensitized, and of course the consumers to be sensitized. And this, I think, is our major role, which we as scientists and nutritionists, doctors, all of us, we need to go forward. So the concerted action is what is necessary, because the recommendations say, as far as possible, if we can bring down the level to below 0.1%, that is best. And in many countries, if they have to label, and they have to say claim trans fat free only if it is below 0.2 grams per 100 grams or 100 ml of the food. So hopefully we will reach that day, because a balanced diet is the key to everything. But eliminating the harmful fat is one of the fundamental things which needs to be addressed, because the use of such fats has been in vogue for quite some time, both in the so-called Western diet as well as the Indian diet. Because a whole lot of the sweets, now Diwali is coming, they say ghee, but it will not be ghee. Ghee, as we know, is so much made substandard from its original version and substituted with margarine or this partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, which is vanaspati, or some other substitutes which are there. So this needs to be eliminated, because we have ample examples from other countries which have successfully done this. So with this, I think I'll close my presentation to say that concerted action is what is needed, because the government alone cannot do. Awareness is important. People need to know what sort of choices they need to make when they buy snacks. Because I find there's a shop next door which is selling, chips, as well as the pakoda. That's the most popular item in that chips shop. And also there's data to show that repeated heating of the oil and frying of the oil enhances its trans fat content, but it's very small, just 3%. That's all. But if people continue to use, the trans fats in their foods or vegetable oils, because it gives a better shelf life, then we are going to really have a problem. And therefore, the need to build the awareness. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Usha. We need to be reminded again and again about this. I know it's very yummy to eat all those things, and we are so tempted. But thank you for that useful talk. And now we have Dr. Vinita Krishnan to speak to us more on this. Thank you, Vinita.
Thank you, Nirmala ma'am. Thank you, organizers. And actually, she always puts me in the soup. Actually, I was not aware exactly as what this panel is going to be. She just told me to talk about this topic and just got from Nirmala ma'am about 1 hour back what exactly I'm supposed to do. So I'll just talk out of my experience, and Dr. Usha, it was mind-blowing, the amount of data, the experience from your end. Yes, and I'm sure the students who have been listening to your talk would have come to a conclusion that they will avoid the fat totally, So that's why I pitched in now. It's not like that. Fat is not bad. Of course, trans fat is bad. And as Dr. Priya said, the quantity, you quantify and then eat. So here I'm just going to tell you briefly how fat is. I always, even when I go talk to my patients or when I go for corporate talks, I generally tell them, fat is not bad. The only culprit what I find here is the carbs. Actually, it's actually the carbohydrates which are the culprits, because fats per se, you would have told, fat doesn't have a single name, like it is like, it's not Vinita, it's Vinita Krishnan. Similarly, the fat is always comes attached with a surname, like lipoprotein, high density lipoprotein, low density lipoprotein. So they never say lipids or fats alone. So why I put this fact here is, fats always need some companion, but carbs are not like that. We say sugar as sugar, jaggery is jaggery. We don't attach it with any other the surname there. So it simply says that sugar or carbs are digested faster. It gets assimilated in the body, and it doesn't circulate as sugar. So why it doesn't get circulated as sugar? Because once your sugar content in the blood is more. So once in my rounds, one senior consultant asked me, or even the doctors around, he was just telling why is that sugar doesn't, your blood sugars are just not like that. You're scared of and then they convert it to cholesterol. So we were just actually it's a very simple question. I'm sure it will ring a bell in your mind also. Why is that? Why is that sugar not circulating as sugar? It can circulate as sugar. Why is it not? Because as you rightly said, it is just becomes, the blood becomes like a syrup. It becomes concentrated with the sugar. It becomes a syrup, and where the heart feels it very difficult to pump that kind of thickness of blood. So that as he rightly pointed out, any excess sugar only gets converted into cholesterol. That cholesterol gets deposited in the liver, which gives you fatty liver. And this liver is responsible of converting all the processing your lipids like into HDL and LDL. So once the fat liver becomes sluggish because of your excess carbs, it doesn't perform its function. And that is the reason where you end up in all the troubles. So fat per se, if taken in right amounts and the right quality, it is not bad. So students don't get confused that fat, as Usha ma'am said, Usha ma'am rightly said, and she was very wise for us, that fat is very bad, especially, yes, trans fat is bad, but other fats, if taken in right amount, is not bad. So cholesterol, simple thing about cholesterol, what students should know is, we have 3 kinds. We have this total cholesterol, we have this HDL, the high density lipoprotein, the low LDL, that is low density lipoprotein, and we have this triglyceride. So this the normal values, of course, all of you can refer through net. But as from dietitian's point of view, what we see is, we see about total cholesterol less than 200, but it says 170. I'm sure Dr. Priya would have better data. 170, and then triglyceride, what I liquid is less than 150. HDL are above 45 and LDL below 100. So when a person comes to me for a counseling, these are the reports about the cholesterol which I look into. And now one more fact what the students have to know here is, the only fat which if through the diet, when I see one particular value, I know this is patient's intake of fat in the diet is more, and that fat, that value is nothing but your triglyceride value.
The triglyceride value is the exact replication of the amount of fat a patient or a person takes in his diet. Whereas the LDL cholesterol and the HDL cholesterol are the it's genetic and it is mostly processed by your liver. So LDL is the bad cholesterol and HDL is the good cholesterol. And the more the good cholesterol, it helps to process all the bad cholesterol into a good cholesterol for other purposes. So fat per se is not bad. Yeah. So hope I've made my point clear on what cholesterol means. Yes, and then they also asked me to highlight about few oils. And one more point is all students to understand that even in advertisements, they just marketing is that this particular oil is cholesterol free. Oil has to be cholesterol free because only non-veg source gives you cholesterol. Vegetarian sources from oils from seeds and flowers doesn't give you cholesterol at all. This has to be drilled in your mind. So cholesterol comes only from non-veg sources, milk and their products, and vegetarian sources doesn't give cholesterol. So whenever you're talking about diet to a patient, you always say, you don't say low cholesterol diet, you include the low fat component also into your diet prescription. You always say low fat, low cholesterol. That's because fat is from vegetable sources and cholesterol is from animal sources. So now I want to read out few good things about oils. You know, that this was quite surprising for me also. So I'm sure this is interesting to the forum also. Yeah. So the various oils, you know, which is in the market and how it definitely benefits each one of us. So as rightly said, I put the ghee there on top because desi ghee, the natural ghee, as the ma'am rightly said, it's not the adulterated ghee, the desi ghee which you get from. When I say desi ghee, the best thing is to, you know, take the milk fat, you know, cream from the milk, then make it into buttermilk and then churn it around to make ghee, butter, and then from the butter it is the ghee. So that kind of ghee, it is very good for digestion. That's why in early ages, even in the babies around 6 months to 8 months old, we start using a little bit of ghee because it helps in digestion. It helps in weight loss, surprisingly, if combined with the regular kind of exercise. Mind you, it helps in weight loss also, and it improves the functioning of the brain. So that's how the benefits of ghee goes. The next is the mustard oil. The mustard oil helps in digestion, but it's got a kind of a bitter taste and a kind of an aroma. But definitely you can see all the West Bengal people there, you know, the skin itself is glowing because one is fish and the other thing is mustard oil. Okay, so it keeps digestion and the circulation. As ma'am said, see, many of us, are during this COVID period wearing masks, etc. All of us have got cardiac problem. When I visited a cardiologist 2 months back, you know, I had palpitation kind of a thing. I don't know whether it is because of my age or because of the mask which you're continuously wearing. I think I should clarify with Dr. Priya only. So this is these things, it improves circulation. The doctor says the circulation has to be improved. Maybe your heart is beating slow or something. So you see, this mustard oil helps apart from exercise, and it has some antibacterial properties. Okay, this oil can protect the skin, and because it's got the property to fight against germs and viruses. And mind you, it has got the property of preventing cold, cough, and skin problems. All this during the pandemic, all of us can try using mustard oil, at least for topical application. It is like the coconut oil. It benefits topical application also. And of course, taking 1 teaspoon of mustard oil daily also can help. Then next is the sunflower oil. Sunflower oil is a good source of vitamin E. It is a PUFA. It helps in reducing the cholesterol. This also has it has a property to fight against free radicals, which ultimately it can be useful for cancer patients. It boosts immunity and promotes functioning of the nervous system. The next is the olive oil. Of course, it's a costly oil, but still we can try using it at least in our salads. And it has a good amount of antioxidants that reduces pain in the joints. You know, most of us as we age, we have pains in the joint, and especially walking up and down the stairs in the wards. So this olive oil is supposed to help us out of it. And as we age, we have our brain cells also seems to, you know, lose its function or reduce in numbers. But olive oil seems to lower risks in Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease also. Okay, and next is the rice bran oil. Rice bran oil again is a MUFA, and the oryzanol helps in the oryzanol component of the rice bran oil is effective in reducing the total cholesterol. Next is the flaxseed oil. Flaxseed oil is rich in omega-3 fatty acids, and it's important in prevention of diseases like Crohn's and colitis. So it is very good for bowel or this intestinal issues. Flaxseed oil is very good apart from giving the omega-3 fatty acid, which is heart protective. Next is the groundnut oil. Groundnut oil is the oil which is got both the MUFA and the PUFA component. This is also a news to me. I thought it's a PUFA, but it's got both the PUFA and the MUFA component in it. It helps in lowering the LDL component of the cholesterol. So if in case you have patients who come to you for counseling with more of LDL, you can try switching them into use of groundnut oil for 3 months. And good source of vitamin E, which acts as an antioxidant by protecting the skin from acne and scars. I think all the youngsters who have logged in, groundnut oil can prevent your acne also. So palm oil, this oil has not been used here. I think they use most in, I think Kerala they are using it much, and then Singapore, etc. But this particular oil is red in color, and because it's got a lot of keratin in them, and it is a rich source of antioxidant. And it also seems to have studies have said that it helps in preventing Alzheimer's disease, arthritis, atherosclerosis, and it has got an anti-aging property also. Then it is the same oil, or the nallanai, which we fondly call them. It has got the it is beneficial for diabetes. That's what the study says. So in case for diabetic people, we can ask them to use more of sesame oil compared to the other oils, and it also brings down the circulatory strain. Okay, this was what it says, and it is also useful in preventing malignancy also in individuals. Okay. Then is the canola oil. I think I don't know if it's been banned. It was in papers for a long time, but still again it's fondly called the rice bran oil because it has got the property of all the omega-3 fatty acids in it. It's got vitamin K as well as vitamin E. So whenever in advertisements again we say fortified with vitamin E. Actually, oils per se have vitamin E in them. I don't know why they propagate things like that. And the next is the soybean oil. So soybean oil has got again PUFA, and it's got omega-3 fatty acids in it. And next is the coconut oil. Yes, this is a very I like this oil a lot because I'm from Kerala basically, and it's got a lot of properties in them. And the folic acid, most of the doctors say coconut should not be used when they go to them. No, it is not like that. Coconut's got this folic acid, which is very heart protective. But the only thing is, what happens with the coconut oil? It has been misused. It's got a low melting point, you know, or it's very heat liable. So what happens is when we do seasoning with it, it smokes very fast and becomes a trans fat. That's the reason why the problem arises. So coconut oil, if you're using, you switch off the your fire, then use it for seasoning. It gives you good results, and it's good for digestion, and I especially use for people with who are recovering from jaundice. I use it for elderly people where I need to give them the required rest, for the digestive system, because this oil doesn't have follow the digestive pathway. It just gets absorbed as it is. And yeah, these are the few oils which I wanted to list it down. And hope I didn't bore you much, because these facts were a little bit interesting when I read. That's why I presented to the forum. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Vinita, for that informative talk. And we will now go on to Marina. Marina will speak on salt, which is another component we are always trying to control. Go ahead, Marina.
Good evening to one and all. I thank JBS and especially Meenakshi Bajaj for giving me this opportunity to share my experience on cardiac diet, especially on salt and its mix. Actually speaking, salt requirement is very much less, but we do take it just for the taste purpose, because it is an essential component in our food when you prepare. So, but what we do is we overdo it. nowadays, especially we see we get lot of eat outs, Swiggies, bought out items, which may not be tasting salt. For example, even a bread or a pizza thing. So it may not be tasting salt, but it has lot of preservatives like sodium benzoate. So that is also comes as sodium. So that's why like younger people are getting this cardiac issues in a very younger age because they over intake on the sodium part. So what does the WHO guidelines say is only 5 grams of salt, that is 2000 mg of sodium. That much only is required in our diet. So in our Indian diet, we see that they 10 grams and they take spicy foods in which they add more salt. So for the taste, suppose if it is only spicy, it will be very, they can't take it. So they add salt also. So we find that people over intake on the salt. So that's why we find that more and more people are becoming hypertensive and they lead up and they go to cardiac issues. So what does this sodium, if you take more, what happens is it causes a lot of fluid accumulation. And causing more burden for the heart and causing this cardiac issues. It is not only for cardiac, but it also causes a loss of calcium. You take more of salt in your diet, loss of calcium happens and renal calculi also happens. So it is very essential that you maintain the salt very minimum. And if you, for the taste purpose, if you find not able to taste, you can improve on the improving, like put lime, spices, so that you can improve the flavor and taste of the food. So you can improve the taste of the food even if it is low salt. So we have to be also aware of also low sodium salt, they say, which is potassium salt, that if you take more also, it is not beneficial. It may cause other side effects like kidney problems. So you should take, preferably the iodized salt is fine, but you have to take it in a very less amount. So that is very important. So we have to educate our patients about reading the labels, especially when you take a bottle. Now it is very, bought out packet foods is very, very common, like biscuits and pastries, everything is there. In everything sodium is there. So we should educate our patients to look into the labels before you buy. That is a very, very important thing. And one thing is you need to take more of sodium. We don't take much of vegetables and fruits which is rich in potassium. So if you take more of potassium in your diet, it will help you to control your blood pressure. So you should take a potassium-rich food in your diet, like all the green leafy vegetables. It's very, very healthy, cardiac protective. Okay, so and not only that, even omega-3 fatty acids are also very good, helps you thin your blood, and that becomes also very essential. So I thank you very much for this opportunity. Anything more I would like to share, please I can share. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marina. Yeah, I agree completely with regard to the salt substitutes, because it doesn't give the correct taste. We did an experiment when we were in MMM. We told the cooks to make it. They added 1.5 times, saying only now the taste is coming. So what have you achieved really? So that's the thing for the salt substitute. Now I'd like Nazneen to join in, and she talks about protein types and quantities.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. And I think whenever we talk about heart disease, we often talk about carbohydrates or we talk about fats. One of the most missed topic is protein, which is a macronutrient, and we must realize that when the protein starts coming down, that is where it starts getting replaced by carbohydrates, and which Usha ma'am and Marina and every Dr. Vinita, all of them have spoken about it. Even Dr. Priya spoke about it, that carbs come in and fats come in, and that's where the protein really starts taking a beating. And today when we look at the Indian body composition, we are a thin fat Indian. So even though we are thin, the body fat is much more. We are sarcopenic, which means our muscle mass is much lesser. And over a period of time, somehow proteins from our diet are just getting reduced and reduced. And with the proteins getting reduced, the hunger pangs increase, and that's where your need to eat the sugary foods, the carb foods, the fatty foods all start to come in. So I think protein is a very important category. And when we look at this entire heart health package, we look at healthier proteins. So we are looking at plant-based proteins like your legumes, which are inherently very high in fiber. So even if you have your whole pulses, the chilke wala pulse, which will give you a lot of fiber. A lot of studies also have shown that legumes can drastically also reduce cholesterol levels, and so regular consumption twice a day can help. Dr. Priya, this is for you, and you may find it interesting that I have my entire career worked on lifestyle disease, and one of my earlier studies was on heart health, where we did it at the Yoga Institute. And most of these people were advised to kind of undergo a bypass surgery, but after a lot of ethical clearance, we realized that some part of the patients can continue on a lifestyle intervention. If they get too bad, then we'll put them in the other group. And we took on to this program. We did their stress thalliums, we did their angiographies, and we put them on this diet, which was a low fat, not a low fat, but a moderate protein diet. And we included sprouts and legumes, a serving of nuts, and low fat milk. Okay. It was interesting to see that first, when I told these people, when I told these patients, you need to eat sprouts or legumes every day, they were like, ma'am, bahut boring hai, we can't eat all these things. But somehow they had a fear that if not, then they had to go in for a surgery. So they, out of the fear factor, they adhered. But and they actually started to enjoy it also. But they were dedicated patients. So they said, okay, we will make 30 different recipes for different days. I said, okay, so teach us how to do that. So I also kind of helped them. Some they innovated, and as a group we made a lot of things based out of pulses. At the end of 3 months, what was beautiful to see was that we actually saw a drop in their entire lipid profile. Parameters changed very nicely. So beans, sprouts, I think definitely is a must, and we should kind of look at it. It has a lot of fiber, good for the gut, and a lot of prebiotics also in there. So that was very encouraging. Nuts I've already spoken about, and even one serving of nuts, that's around 30 grams of nuts per day, actually has a 30% reduction in the entire lipid profile. So that will help. Low fat dairy, again, this is something which we need to emphasize, because most of the people like to have the whole fat milk, but the easier thing is just boil it once, leave it in the fridge, you have all the cream floating up, remove it off, make your ghee at home and have a low fat milk, So that definitely helps. Simple steps like those. Poultry, again, not the dress poultry, which means that the skin is removed from the chicken. And if you eat that, and research actually shows that it can help in, reducing the cholesterol, overall cholesterol levels. However, for all of these foods, cooking methods are important. So if you go and eat Kentucky, if you eat a fried chicken, then it's obviously like all the eminent speakers have said that you nullify the effect of protein. So you have to eat it, just either steamed or boiled or just minimally cooked. So that is important. Fish by far is like the number one hero over here. One, because of its omega-3 fatty acid content, and also the protein content of the fish itself is so high. So you have your tuna, salmon, all of these have some brilliant effects. And again, in that case also, cooking method is important. You can't deep fry it because the entire fatty acid composition changes. So if you cook it in a healthier way with a lot of veggies in it, definitely it helps. Dairy again, cheese which is low fat, paneer which is low fat, not malai paneer, will help. And eggs have been controversial, but a lot of studies actually show that 70% of the people did well with eggs, even the whole eggs, including the yolk. Okay, there is only a 30% chance that people may respond the other way for eggs, especially with the LDLs, especially the lipoprotein A. Otherwise, most people respond well, and so eggs can be had one egg a day, or probably if somebody is in that bracket where they think that their cholesterol level is increasing, then you look at egg whites as a substitute, but do include it as a part of the breakfast. So if you have a carb-based breakfast, wherein if you are only having idli and sambar, probably reducing the number of idlis and adding one egg to it, so it becomes like a proper a balanced breakfast of carbohydrates and protein may really help. So these are some of my takeaways. So include protein on a regular basis. Let's make sure that we build enough muscle mass, build on to immunity, create a lot of satiety, and that's the way to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nazneen. I think we are running out of time, so we won't have any questions now. I think if the organizers will share the email of the speakers, then I also have comments and questions, but I don't want to get into it. I see that there's a recipe demonstration and so on and so forth. So I will hand over to Reshma. Thank you all for asking me to moderate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Nirmala ma'am. Thank you all the expert panelists who have given on the CVD and the diet related to CVD. I'm very privileged to be a part of this panel discussion, to hear this panel discussion. Very, very feeling sad for those people who couldn't hear all this experts people speaking over here. So I would like now to move on to the recipe demonstration by Hemashri, Chef Hemashri Subramaniam, by Home Cooking. Hema ma'am, can you unmute yourself? Hemashri ma'am? Ma'am, will Avanti ma'am, will Hemashri ma'am be able to join us?
Reshma, we're just playing the video. Just give us 1 minute.
Okay, ma'am, fine. Thank you.
Yeah.
show you guys a very interesting and very delicious walnut paneer kebab. So let's get started and check out the recipe. I've taken about 1 cup of walnuts for this recipe. Toast it till you get a nice golden brown color. Toasting the walnuts brings out a lovely nutty flavor. So the walnuts are toasted. I'm going to turn off the stove. Let the walnuts cool down completely. Add the toasted walnuts to a food processor. Pulse the walnuts 2 to 3 times. Now I'm going to add all the other ingredients. Next, add 200 grams of paneer pieces. Next, add 3 cloves of garlic, a piece of ginger, 2 green chilies cut up. Next, season it with half teaspoon of salt. Add 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds. I'm going to add all the spice powders, starting with 1 teaspoon of Kashmiri red chili powder, 1 teaspoon coriander powder, 1 teaspoon chaat masala powder, half teaspoon amchur powder, half teaspoon garam masala powder. To this, I'm going to add a handful of coriander leaves and a few mint leaves. Grind all the ingredients till you get a nice coarse mixture. So you can see it's ground to a beautiful texture here. So when you actually hold it and roll it into kebabs, you should be able to bind it together. So you can see it binds itself. This is the consistency of the paneer kebab mixture that you need. Next, I'm going to start rolling out the kebabs. Take a little bit of the mixture and roll it into desired size patties. To fry the kebabs, I'm using 1 tablespoon of ghee. You can also use oil. Ghee gives a better flavor to the kebabs. Fry the kebabs on low flame on each side for about 6 to 7 minutes. Dab a little ghee on top before flipping the kebabs to the other side. Using walnuts in the recipe gives a great texture and crunch to the kebabs. So you can see it's got a lovely rich brown color. So you can turn off the stove at this point of time. So there you go, here are these delicious walnut paneer kebabs. It's great to use a handful of walnuts in our daily diet, as walnuts are a great source of essential nutrients. So enjoy these paneer kebabs with a nice mint chutney or a mint mayo by the side. It's an absolutely delicious recipe that is a must try. So do try and enjoy.
Thank you, Hemashri ma'am. It was a mouth-watering and a very short and a very easy recipe to make. So we will have now Bhavani ma'am, Chief Dietitian, ESI Hospital, Chennai, to say about the nutritional benefits of the paneer kebab.
A warm good evening to one and all. Shall I start?
Yes, ma'am, you can start.
A warm good evening to one and all. I thank the organizers for the opportunity. I also thank Mrs. Emas Subramaniam for this delicious as well as nutritious recipe, walnut paneer kebab. So the two main ingredients used here are walnut and paneer. So both walnut and paneer are high in protein, B complex vitamins and minerals. So this particular snack recipe is highly packed with bunch of nutrients. Thus this can be recommended for all ages, especially for kids, pregnant women and lactating women. So why I recommend this for pregnant women? Because this recipe contains, that is, a walnut contains a lot of folic acid, vitamin B6 and fiber. Folic acid is essential to prevent the neural tube defects in fetus, and vitamin B6 helps to relieve from morning sickness. And also, most of the pregnant women are more prone to constipation. So we can provide walnuts. We can help them to relieve from all these conditions. And other thing is coming to the nutritive value of walnuts. About 100 grams of walnut gives us about 680 kilocalorie. Protein comes to about 15 grams. Fat is about 60 grams, and about fiber is about 2.5 grams. So walnut contains 65 grams of fat. That is about 65% is loaded with fat. Absolutely, the fat is good fat. The walnut contains omega-3 fatty acid, such as alpha-linolenic acid, which is also the precursor for eicosapentaenoic acid and docosahexaenoic acid, which is very essential for the brain development of the kids. So that is the reason why I recommend this recipe for kids. As we look into the structure of walnut resembles the human brain. So walnut improves the brain health also, and it lowers the depression level. So a study published in the journal Nutrients shows that walnuts helps to reduce the depression level in the individuals. Walnut is also a good source of antioxidants. It contains a lot of vitamin E, and this antioxidant present in walnuts helps to prevent from heart diseases, various types of cancers, especially colon cancers, helps to control the cholesterol levels, triglyceride levels, helps to maintain the blood pressure and also the body weight. So if suppose one is going to lose weight, they can consume an handful of walnuts. That is, one handful of walnut is equivalent to almost 30 grams, and it gives about 185 kilocalorie, 4.5 grams of protein, and 90 grams of fat. Due to the fiber content in the walnut, it helps to improve the gut microflora and helps to prevent constipation. As per FSSAI reports, walnut also improves the immune system. So improving immune system is a real challenge we face today. So this is about walnut. The next ingredient is paneer. So about 200 grams of paneer is added in this recipe. So as we know, paneer is a milk product and which is loved by all, especially kids. So we can prepare number of healthy snacks recipes with paneer. When we add upon a nut like walnut to it, definitely we can improve the nutritional level very much as well as the taste. So about 100 grams of paneer gives about 18 grams of protein, 20 grams of fat with 265 kilocalorie. It also rich in calcium, phosphorus, and B complex vitamins. So apart from these two main ingredients, that is the paneer and walnut, they have also added cumin seeds, garlic, and ginger to the recipe, which gives a lovely aroma and also improves the digestion. So overall, to sum up with the recipe, this recipe, walnut paneer kebab, is energy and nutrient dense recipe with immense health and nutritional benefits. So instead of consuming some junk foods and fried snacks, we can consume an healthy snack like walnut and paneer kebab. So thank you once again for sharing such a delicious and nutritious recipe. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhavani ma'am, for that explaining the nutritional benefits. Now we have a small video for the Eat Right movement by Net Profan, featuring actor Rajkumar Rao, speaking on Aaj Se Thoda Kam, relevant to our topic today, World Heart Day.
आपकी जिंदगी में कौन जीतता है, दिल या दिमाग? जैसे दिमाग तो कहता है सुबह सुबह उठ के कसरत करो, पर दिल करता है थोड़ा और सो लो। या अभी दिमाग समझा रहा है घी तेल कम खाओ, तंदुरुस्त रहोगे, पर दिल ललचा रहा है अंकल जी रोज पराठे दबाते हैं, कुछ नहीं हुआ। दिमाग बनाता है कल को ऐसी बीमारियां हो गई कुछ खा ही ना पाओ तो क्या फायदा, इसलिए आधे लड्डू से काम चलाओ। पर दिल जिद करता है, खाऊंगा तो पूरा ही। देखिए, जानते तो सभी हैं कि ज्यादा तेल, चीनी या नमक खाना नुकसानदायक होता है, पर कैसे? हमें तो लगता है कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा थोड़े मोटे ही हो जाएंगे, बस चलेगा। हमें कौन सा फिल्म स्टार या ओलंपिक खिलाड़ी बनना है? पर अगर तेल, नमक या चीनी पे कंट्रोल नहीं किया ना, तो हाई ब्लड प्रेशर, हार्ट अटैक, स्ट्रोक, शुगर की बीमारी, आंखों की खराबी, किडनी फेल, कुछ भी हो सकता है। और इन सबके चक्कर में परहेज ही परहेज, सिर्फ खाने में नहीं, आपकी पूरी जिंदगी में, रोजमर्रा के हर काम में। नुकसान समझ लिए ना, बस हो गया काम आसान। अब लगाइए दिमाग को काम पे। अगर रोज के खाने में तेल का इस्तेमाल कम करना है, तो जितना तेल अभी आप डालते हैं उससे धीरे धीरे कम कीजिए, और फिर कुछ दिनों बाद और थोड़ा कम। अगर नमक कम करना है तो भी यही, खाना पकाते समय नमक की मात्रा आप धीरे धीरे कम करते जाइए, और ऊपर से सैलेड, दही या फल पे नमक मत छिड़किए। चाय में चीनी लेते हैं, यानी कोई नहीं, लीजिए लीजिए, बस आधा चम्मच कम कर दीजिए, और कुछ दिन बाद समझ गया ना? इसलिए सोचिए, आपकी जिंदगी में हर दिन, हर पल कौन जीतता है? Start reducing your intake of sugar, salt and fat from today.
Very beautiful video, and it's very touching also. So now I would like to welcome Dr. Shobana ma'am. She's the assistant professor in the Department of Home Science, JBAS College, Chennai, to give a brief note on the recipe demonstration by the students. Ma'am, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah. Can you hear? Good evening to one and all present here. I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to one of the panel for the cookery contest, California walnut recipe. We were amazed to see the overwhelming responses. We had received around 70 entries, which were very creative, interesting, and nutritious too. Actually, it was a very good visual treat to me, I would say. Given the great amount of response, California Walnut Commission is generous enough to give the award, that is gift hampers, to not only for the prize winners, but also for the 10 more contestants as a consolation prize. The recipes were judged based on the nutritive value, aesthetic appeal, as well as the method of preparation. Now I'm very happy to announce the prize winners. The first prize goes to Miss Nuria for her walnut coffee cake with walnut coffee frosting. Actually, the cake base as well as the frosting was prepared with so much amount of California walnuts, and it seems to be very appealing, and I think it will be tasty also. The second prize was secured by Miss Muttahara Ayas for her crusted chicken and with the marinara sauce. Actually, the crust is made with the crusted walnut, which seems to be very interesting. And Miss Mohammed Suraya won the third prize for vegan meat wrap. Okay. Now the consolation prize winners are Miss Fatima Nachia for her pineapple and walnut rugelak. It's actually prepared with walnut as well as a pineapple jam as a base. It was very interesting and creative too. And Miss Santa Lakshmi for her walnut nacho chips, where the flour itself is made with walnut flour and with some amount of wheat flour. It's a combination of wheat flour and walnut powder. It also seems to be very nutritious and creative. Miss Jamila Nasir for dark chocolate walnut cake. Miss Rajkumari for walnut plantain cola balls. Miss Mubina Rehana for creamy walnut stuffed eggplant. This is very, very creative and interesting dish too. Okay, where she has stuffed the eggplant with walnut and some more vegetables. Miss Naushin Jahan for walnut quinoa pancake. Miss Rukaya for her chewy trail bars, which is a nutritious, healthy bar, which is very good breakfast bar for for all age groups. And Sai Amruteswari for walnut kebab, Umme Kulsum for walnut paneer cutlet, which now you see the video. Saw the video. The same thing prepared by Umme Kulsum, and Martina for her Spanish apple and walnut salad. I congratulate the prize winners, consolation prize winners, and all the participants for their enthusiastic participation in the California Walnut Cookery Contest. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Shobhana ma'am.
Thank you.
So creative. The students are so creative, and it's nice to hear those names. Really mouth-watering for me now.
If possible, you can see show the PPT also. That's just the dishes. It would be very, as how I enjoyed the visual treat. Everybody can able to also enjoy that.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Congratulations to all the winners for winning with the gift hampers, and that to California Walnuts. And now I would like to have Mr. Krishnamurthy sir, who is the IDA convener, Chennai chapter, for the prize distribution, as well as Mrs. Shruti Gupta, who is the India Communications representative, California Walnut Commission. Krishnamurthy sir. Shruti ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank you all for your valuable insights this evening. I would also like to applaud the students for their phenomenal work to create recipes with California walnuts. The core objective of the contest was to showcase that walnuts are extremely versatile and they can be a part of various dishes to enhance the taste and nutrition quotient. The possibilities of cooking with walnuts is endless, like we saw today. It was definitely a tough decision for us to make. I would also like to congratulate the winners for their creativity. Your California Walnut hamper will reach you very soon. All the best and stay well.
Thank you, Shruti ma'am. Is sir able to connect to us? Because it's a little rainy in Chennai also.
I don't think sir is on the call.
Yeah, I think my sir is not able to connect to us.
He's on and off, getting connected and getting disconnected.
Yes,
so,
ma'am. Everybody has a connectivity problem now.
Yeah, it's raining. Yeah.
We'd like to have G. Deepa ma'am. She's the co-convener, IDA Chennai chapter, to give the vote of thanks. Deepa ma'am, can you unmute yourself and give the vote of thanks, please?
Yeah. So it's actually online. I don't know. He's online.
No, he's not there. He was there, but now he's not there.
He said that he is still online. Just see, just check, please.
He's not there.
He's not there? Okay. So as we had an excellent program today, it was really very, very interesting. And as we're coming to the end of the World Heart Day celebrations, I would like to give the vote of thanks. As important as the heart is, the vote of thanks also becomes an important event because we have a very, very good interactive session today. I would like to thank our expert, eminent panelists, Dr. Nirmala Jesudasan, Dr. Priya Chupalingam, Dr. Usha Anton, Dr. Vinita Krishnan, Ms. Marina Alex, and Mrs. Nazneen Hussain, who have given us various inputs in various directions, also helping us to understand what the cardiac problems are which are present today, and also how we can try to correct it by taking the right steps, including the exercise and the right diet and nutrition. I would also like to thank Chef Mrs. Hemashri Subramaniam, Dr. Muhammad Nisha for a very nice welcome address, Dr. Avanti Prabhakar, Dr. Bhavani, and Dr. Shruti Gupta, the Indian Communication representative of California Walnut Commission. A special thanks to Mrs. Nazneen Hussain, the founder and director of the Freedom Wellness Management Nutrition Advisor of Indian Navy, and also the chief nutritionist for the Indian Rush soccer team. I'll take this opportunity to thank the JBIS College for Women for having taken an excellent initiative to coordinate, conduct programs. Thank you, Mrs. R.M. Shobna ma'am, for having given an excellent review and feedback on the various items prepared by the students and also judging the competition. I take this opportunity to thank the technical support team for having a nice presentation and keeping a perfect, giving a perfect program without any technical glitch. And thank you, Mrs. Meenakshi Bajaj, for having supported the whole team in the background and the backdrop without being present anywhere around, but still being present.
Very true.
And, thanks a lot to the California Walnut Commission, who has really taken up this program to support us and conduct the World Heart Day. Thank you, one and all. Thank you to all the people present in the team today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sir is here now.
Sir, can you unmute
Sir is here.
Who's that?
Krishnamurti sir is there now.
Sir is
Yeah.
there. Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. You can speak, sir. Sir, it's clear. You can speak, sir.
Yes, yes, and here only I am. Yes.
Sir, speak a few lines. Ma'am, I think sir is not able to connect.
Yeah.
I don't think he.
Yeah, all attendees will be receiving e-certificates for the webinar. And thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you, Krishnamurti sir. If you can speak a few words, it will be good.
I think he has some technical issues right from the beginning. So.
Sir, can you come on a call? Can you come on a call and connect? Is it possible?
Sir, can you unmute yourself?
Ask him to give a call. Can you give a call? Connect by a call.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, ask him to come on call and talk.
Yes, ma'am.
First, my thanks to Chennai chapter, I think NetFan and JPSCA college, everybody to arrange this program occasion of the World Heart Day. So I think last week also I conducted that the recipe contested in JPS college students. All of it is done with present excellent recipes, madam. So I think all of selected will be 3 only. I think what prizes is given already announced. I think the madam also announced. So best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for being on the call. Thank you, Krishnamurti sir.
Thank you, Krishnamurti sir. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to all the winners for the lovely recipes.
Yes.
Yeah, we would like to see it, I think.
Thank you so much, Nazneen, and thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am, Usha ma'am, as well as Priya ma'am, to stay with us till the last. So Very grateful to both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Avanti.
Thank you, Nazneen and Shruti as well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Nirmala ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deepa. Okay. See you.
Thank you, Nirvana. Bye-bye. See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.